So the next test will verify that we can reset the token and then get the user by this token. So let's start with public function gets user by token and resets token. And let's make it a test. Scroll up. We're going to start by creating the new user, so make user. This time we pass the argument. We want token to be overwritten. We don't want token to be null. We want it to be ABC. And then we instantiate new user by calling user by token. And then we pass ABC. This is the token we want to use to get the user. And again, first method to get the user. Now by token, again, query scope. If we go back to our app model user, you may remember if we scroll up, we have scope by token, we have scope by remember token. So by calling this by remember token, this method is going to be executed. And obviously by email, we've already tested. Now we're testing this scope by token, which is going to add this where clause where token equals whatever we pass through as an argument. So now once we've got the instance of this user, we're going to first verify it. So verify user, we pass user through as a first argument, and then obviously the token that we've overwritten. So token, which will equal ABC. That's what it should be. So if we save it and run the test, and there we go, 3 tests, 18 assertions, all of them are passing. So Command K on the keyboard to clear the screen. And now if we go back, now that we know that we've been able to add the user with a new token, and we obviously have been able to get that user out of the database again, now we do user reset token. So now this token should be changed. We're going to get new user user equals, again, user find this time by ID, so user ID. I could obviously type in 1 here because we know that obviously we only have 1 user because the tables have been recreated before this test, but let's just use the user and then ID property, which is obviously going to store the ID of this user. So we overwritten this user variable, having the new instance, which is the same user obviously, but now it should be with this new token. And now we're going to do this assert not equals to what we were having before, so ABC, and then user token. It should not be ABC now because we called this reset token, which should reset it to something different. That's why we're checking assert not equals. And then if it does, then obviously something's wrong. So user set token did not reset the token. Okay, if we save it, run a test, and there we go. 3 tests, 19 assertions, everything seems to be working fine. Great. Okay, so that was this. We now know that we can reset the token and obviously find the user by the token. So the next method will be by the remember token. So let's start with this public function gets user by remember token. And again, let's make it a test. And we start with this make user, we pass remember underscore token equals, and let's make it 555 for instance. And then we get user equals user, this time by remember token, and we pass 555 as argument, and then first. And then we get this verify user, we pass user instance, and then the argument, which is going to be this remember underscore token, which should equal 555. Okay, let's run it. And there we go, 4 tests, 25 assertions, all of which are passing. So our remember token by remember token method works fine as well. The next test will verify that our isActive and makeActive methods are working fine. So public function, and we're going to call it identifies and makes user active. And then test. Obviously, you can call these methods however you want. This is just my understanding of obviously the problem that I'm testing. So user equals this make user. Again, this one is going to be with default data. By default, we know that active is set to 0. So this assert false when we run user is active. And if it returns true, which it shouldn't, then obviously it would fail. In which case we're going to return the message user is active returned true with inactive user. So let's save it, run the test. And there we go, 5 tests, 26 assertions, all of which are passing. Next, I'm going to make it active. So user and then method make active. And at this point, we can now, because we could obviously use the same instance, but I want to verify that obviously it's been saved to the database, because this make active could just change the property on the object, but not save it. So I need to verify that obviously that works as well. So user, we're going to create a new, basically obtain the new instance of the user class. So user find, and again by ID, so user ID using the previous instance of this user. So we're now overwriting it. So the same user, but now we obviously fetched fresh record from a database. This assert true, and we go for user is active. This time it should return true. So if it doesn't, then we're obviously gonna type something like user is active returned false with active user. Okay, let's save it, run it, and we have 5 tests, 27 assertions. And again, all of them are passing, so it's all good. I think that that does it for now when it comes to is active and make active methods. So the next method will verify that we can actually update the password. So public function updates password, and let's make it a test again. And we're going to start with making a new user, basically adding a user to the database, same way as before. Again, with default data, we're going to start with user equals user, find the first one. We could also obviously use user equals and then just use user ID. Either way, it's gonna be fine because again, we're starting with a fresh table, so there is no records there at all. We add in the first record, obviously it's going to have ID 1. Okay, so what we want to do here is first verify that the password is what it should be, and what it should be when when you're using make user without passing any argument, that should be set to secret. If we scroll right to the top, secret is what's default password associated with the properties array. So let's try this. This assert true, and we're going to start with user verify password should be secret, and obviously it's going to check against the hash password stored within the database, and if it doesn't work, then obviously user create did not add a record with the correct hashed password. So if we save it and let's run this test, and there we go, 6 tests, 28 assertions. So that seemed to be working fine. So the password has been hashed, and then when we verified, obviously it verified that obviously this string matches it. Okay, then we're going to start user update password. We want to change it to say password. You can obviously use whatever you want. And again, we're going to start user. We fetch the new instance, user find by user ID. And then we're gonna go this assert true user. We are now verifying password again, but this time it should be password. Obviously it's going to be hashed again, but it should verify it against this string password. If it doesn't, then user update password did not update the password. So let's save it, run it, and there we go, 29 assertions, all of which are passing. Back to the editor. I think that concludes it. I think we know now that we can obviously verify the password, and then we can update the password, which also works when we verify this again. So that's all fine. The next method will check that we can actually update the remember token. So public function updates remember token, and tag test. And now what we're going to do is this make user again with default data, then user equals user find one, or again, we can do the same as we did before. Let's associate this output of the make user method with the user, and then let's just use the property ID on this user. So user ID. So get user by this ID. So we overwriting basically what this make user returned by getting a fresh user from the database. Okay, and this assert null user remember token, because by default that's been set to null within our array associated with the properties property. And if it's not null, then obviously there's something not right. User create did not add record with the remember token set to null. Let's save it, run it, and there we go. 7 tests, 30 assertions, all of which are passing. That's great. Next, we are going to run this update remember token method. So user update remember token. And after this, we are going to fetch new user to make sure that obviously we get the fresh copy user, find user by user ID. And now we're going to verify the same thing. I'm just going to type this assert not null this time. User remember underscore token. And if it obviously is null, then that would indicate that update remember token method didn't work. So user update remember token did not update the remember token. Let's save it, run it, and there we go. Everything passes. So that's it in this video. I'm just going to remove these spaces here. We've now tested our user model. So we are now ready to start working on our guard class.